Hi, welcome back to Creativity Sparks. I'm Barbara Hengstenberg and we're in Wilds Art Studio again today. Today's episode is Draw Your Day. This is a really powerful episode. It's a powerful way to really think deeply and to really be able to capture all those ideas and memories so that you can write or make art around it. In order to draw your day, we're going to make art just to do that. And so that's really special. We're going to make a piece of art to help us write in a journal. It'll help us to write about different things that we know about, things that happen to us. And it doesn't have to be anything really spectacular. It can be something as small as I ate a bowl of cereal this morning. So everything that we do has a story behind it because we have the experience behind it and we can then tell the story. So for today's drawing of the day, you're going to really have to use your brain and think about probably yesterday because you lived through yesterday, and so you're going to draw your day around yesterday. What happened yesterday? So you're going to need to really think about it. And then you're going to draw a map about it. You're going to need blank paper. It can be any kind of paper, white drawing paper, white fancy paper, it doesn't matter. You can do it right inside of your journal. I can choose a blank page right in my journal and draw my day on that. You're going to need a pencil because it helps to sketch it out first. And then you're going to need a Sharpie marker, some sort of marker to sort of bolden it up a little bit. And for my map of my day, I'm going to choose to use colored pencils. And so I have my assortment of beautiful colored pencils here. Nothing fancy, but there you go. And always my handy eraser nearby in case I make a mistake on this because I want to really think about my day and make sure that everything goes in the way that it went yesterday. Go with the flow, as they say. So let's look at what I did yesterday. And I've already sort of thought this out. And so let's look at it and see how I did it. And we're going to take it apart piece by piece so that you can see how you can draw your day. So first of all, let's look at the top. I wrote the word begin. You can write begin or start, whatever you want to do. But this way you know this is the start of your day, however you want to start it. The first thing I drew was a rooster. And I wrote next to it cock-a-doodle-doo because this rooster crows every morning. This is Bert, our rooster. And then I went over to here, coffee and breakfast. I had coffee and breakfast at the Breakaway Cafe, and so I drew a little coffee cup. After that, we went grocery shopping. So a grocery store. I put a little bag with some groceries inside, put a little HT because the name of the grocery store is Harris Teeter, and so that just reminds me of the grocery store name. And I wrote grocery store underneath. Then I came down here, and part of my day, an important part every single day, is to muck out the barn. So I've got my shovel here, and I've got some alpaca poop because that's what I'm shoveling out of the barn. But every day I like to keep my alpacas nice and clean, and so I mucked out the barn yesterday. After that, I came inside, washed my hands a little bit. I didn't put that in here, but I washed my hands after I muck out the barn. Thank you very much. And I ate some cashews. So I drove a few cashews here and wrote 8 cashews. And it's been such nice weather here in North Carolina, and so I had an iced tea on the back porch. And so you'll see here, I wrote down iced tea on back porch, and I drew a picture of a glass with some ice and some tea and a little straw in it. I like to do some painting every day, drawing, painting, somehow creating something creative. And so I just painted in watercolor because yesterday I had a chance to do that. So I made a little palette with some colors in it, and I made just a very simple rectangle with other rectangles inside to show my watercolor box of paints. The next thing is I fed the chickens. And so I've got my little chicken feeder here, and I wrote fed the chickens. After that, I mowed the lawn. We've got some lawn toward the front of the house that I do the hand mowing on, and so I just have a little hand mower here. And you'll notice up front I did tall grass because I haven't mowed that yet. And then in the back I have the shorter grass because that's been mowed. And I wrote mowed the lawn. That was pretty much full day. After that I ate supper. And so I have my plate and my utensils next to it and wrote ate supper underneath. And at the end of the day, really at sunset, because that's when the chickens like to be tucked in, we go out to the barn and we tuck in the alpacas and chickens. And so I drew the barn, I put some Z's because they're all asleep, and I put the moon over it because that signifies that it was nighttime. And so I did all of this, and you'll notice with each one, I've put a little line. I used my marker, and I put a line to sort of map out the sequence of the events that took place yesterday in my day, and so that's drawing out my day. I went over each one. I wrote over each one, like in fed the chickens. I wrote fed, went over it with the marker and said fed the chickens. And so I'll go over each and every one of these with my marker. Then I'm going to want to embellish it. And you can use watercolor, you can use markers. I'm choosing to use marker for this today. And not marker, I'm choosing to use my colored pencils today. And so I'm going to go back in, and I know that the bottom of my chicken feeder is red, and so I'm going to color that in red, color that in, and let's see, what else can I embellish here? I know that my lawnmower is actually blue, so I'm going to color that in blue. And I may go back in and make the grass green. So you get the idea. With my barn, of course, I'll turn that red because we got your typical red barn at home. And so I'm going to color that in red and really finish out the whole drawing. Once I'm done with this drawing of my day yesterday, you can see that this is like a journal entry. I'll put the date on the top, and so I'll write the date across the top of it so that I remember what day it was and the year. And then I can put this right inside of my creativity journal because I'm going to put this right here. If I did this every day, I can go back into this years from now and see for every day what I was doing. And it doesn't take a lot of reading. I can look and see pictures. Oh, well, yeah, I was eating some cashews that day. I think I feel like some cashews now. But the other thing I can do with this is I can use every little event that's on this page, and I can write about it. At the grocery store, I ran into a neighbor. And so I could write about how I ran into Patty and Bill at the grocery store and the stories that we were trading. I can write about my iced tea on the back porch. It may not seem like a big event, but you know what? I was sitting on my back porch listening to the blue jays. And yesterday, a blue jay landed in our bird bath. And he was in there bathing all over the place. Feathers were flying, and he was having a grand old time in our bird bath. And I can write about that because I've lived in North Carolina for 5 years now. And this is the first year I've seen a lot of blue jays. And so that's an important event that is coming to my mind because I wrote down that I had iced tea on my back porch. Do you see what I'm saying? I could decide I'm going to make a painting of a blue jay because of that iced tea on the back porch. How crazy is that? So you can use this for a lot of things. You can write about each event. You can do a journal entry about an event that happened. If it was more important to you that you want to really fill it out and embellish it in words and write it in your journal, you can write a story. You could write a story about a different character, and you could draw out that character's day. How exciting would that be? If you're writing stories right now, you can figure out your character, what he or she likes to do during the day, what kind of person he or she is by what they do during the day, and you could draw out your character's day. How important would that be for character development? Wow. Give that one a whirl and let me know how that goes. I'd love to see what your day's looking like. I'm really curious to see, how was your day yesterday? What did you do? How did you draw it out? You can do this, you can put it all over the place on your page and do lines everywhere. Doesn't matter. It's your day. So you can decide how that day's going to look in your mind's eye and in your memory. Would you share it with me? I would love to see it. You can share it with me at barbara@creativitysparks.org. And let me know if I can share it with others too, because I would love to. Speaking of which, where are you finding art? And I have an exciting place where I am finding art lately. I have been finding art in my mailbox. I've been finding art that has been sent to me, and this one in particular was sent to me from my 9-year-old friend Maisie, and she and I write back and forth now and then, and we sort of like art pen pals. And so every now and then I find art from Maisie in my mailbox, and so this is what I found recently. Isn't this beautiful? It's got watercolor paints, it's got charcoal, lots of different patterns around it. And so I call this, even though it's not titled, but I like to call this kaleidoscope because this looks like looking through a kaleidoscope to me. So thanks for sharing this, Maisie. I love seeing your art, and I'm really proud of the work that you're doing. Thanks. Send me your stuff. I'd love to see it. You can send me photos of your work at barbara@creativitysparks.org. And I'd love to share it if you'd let me. So let's end today with a quote. This one is from the beautiful poet Maya Angelou. You can't use up creativity. The more you use, the more you have. Thanks for joining us today. See you next time.